What happens when China leads the world? Well, you might find out sooner than you think, and we're going to talk about it. I'm your host, Hyde. This is Hide and Seek Media. Hello, all you beautiful and amazing people. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to the show. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, so you get notified anytime I drop a new video. If you're already subscribed, but you haven't yet subscribed to my Rumble channel, head on over to Rumble and subscribe there as well. You'll get videos on Rumble that you don't get on YouTube, so head on over there and subscribe to that channel as well. Also, if you want to get content that you'll find nowhere else on the internet from me, head on over to Locals and become a member. When you become a member of my Locals community, it's free to join, so you'll get access to all the videos that I put up on Rumble and YouTube here on this community. But if you become a premium member, not only will you get access to all of those videos, you'll get exclusive content that I put up only for Locals and access to all the articles I write. So head on over to Locals and become a member today. And if you use code ULTRAMAGA, I'll give you your first month free. So head on over to Locals and become a member today. But I wanted to talk about China and their influence on the world stage as of today and what it's going to look like in the future. So I came across this article from The Atlantic from back in 2020, written by Michael Schumann, right? And the headline says, "What happens when China leads the world?" But in this article, they tend to look to the past, right? And past Chinese dynasties to see how they would basically lead the world. And it's about what you would think, right? It's authoritarian. It's, almost a dictatorship, capitalistic. They like capitalism, but it's a authoritarian capitalist society is basically what you can look forward to if China leads the world. And really, this should frighten a lot of people, because if China becomes the number one superpower, the entire world stage changes overnight. And with the collapse of the dollar imminent, it's almost perfect timing for China to step right in and take control, right? Now, if you've been paying attention, and we'll go over some of the points in this article here in a minute, but there was a couple of other articles that I came across that kind of led me to this one. I saw this article from ABC News that said Chinese President Xi calls for Ukraine peace talks, right? Chinese leader Xi Jinping has called for peace talks over Ukraine after French President Emmanuel Macron, Macron, I think I'm saying that wrong, whatever. After French president appealed to him to bring Russia to its senses, right? Well, we all know that Putin and Xi are allies. They have the same basic worldview and want to see the world shaped in the same way. So, they've partnered up and are doing trade deals together and are supporting each other in their endeavors. Like, China has come out and said they support Russia in their fight in Ukraine or whatever. And so now they're trying to broker peace. But this isn't the first time China stepped in and tried to broker peace. They just did it with Iran and Saudi Arabia. All right. I found this article from NPR. Top Saudi and Iranian envoys meet in China for a deal that could remake the region. Okay. So China is now, they're going into these countries that are struggling and feuding or whatever, and are brokering peace deals. Saudi Arabia and Iran. China is making that happen, not the United States. Okay? Now remember, when we had Donald Trump, we had the Abraham Accords, and we had agreements from a number of countries in the Middle East to, open up trade deals and start to open up lines of communication between them and Israel, right? And so we had we were starting to see peace in the Middle East. And then, of course, Donald Trump loses in 2020, and Joe Biden completely just throws that whole entire region of the world away. The Afghanistan withdrawal was horrendous. We all remember that. 13 brave young men and women died. 13 brave young men died as a result of that poorly planned withdrawal. Why this is so important is because now you're going to see, we already know that China and Iran do trade deals and are working together. But now that they've brought Saudi Arabia into it, they can kind of control OPEC, which is how the United States and a large number of other countries sell their oil. And, that's where the petrodollar comes into play, right? Where because of OPEC, you have basically it is the rule that you are not allowed to buy, or that it is understood that all oil and natural, like gas, should be paid for with the US dollar. Well, that's all going away, right? China and Russia are dealing energy. China's buying energy from Russia, but not using the dollar. We now see where did I find this story? There was a story from Fox Business. Brazil and China strike trade deal agreement to ditch U.S. dollar. Now, this isn't the only country, right? There was, I want to say it was Kenya, maybe. There was another African country that was that just come out in the news recently and said you have about 2 weeks to get rid of your dollars because they're going to be worthless in this country after that. And so you can see that the plan to cripple the United States is working, and this current administration is just kind of handing it over to them. They're not doing anything about it. They're not doing anything to curb inflation. They are continuously spending billions of dollars, sending it over to Ukraine in an effort to fight a proxy war against Russia. And all of this just leaves the door open for China to do what they do, right? Like, instead of starting wars in places and trying to implement democracy like the United States has done over the last 40 years, China's gone in and given money to these countries and said, here, we'll give you a loan, right? And let you, build up your country and your infrastructure and all that. We'll help you do that. And in return, all we ask for is like mining rights to this lithium or whatever you've got, right? Like we saw this here. I found this article, Yahoo News. China's loans to Africa worry World Bank President David Malpass, right? So the World Bank is worried about what China's doing because the World Bank holds a ton of United States dollars in reserve, right? It is the world's reserve currency right now. So, of course, this all worries, everybody who's invested in the dollar. But make no mistake, these countries are on their way to going away from the dollar as reserve currency, and that will cripple the United States economy, which will and then cause a trove of other problems that we're going to have to deal with in this country, and leaves us vulnerable and weak against enemies like China and Russia. I mean, they're even at our borders, okay? China is even at our borders. Look, I've got this story from timcast.com. If it'll pull up here. Mexican president asked China to help stop the flow of chemicals used to make fentanyl. President Lopez Obrador said that the U.S. unjustly blames Mexico for its opioid crisis in a letter to Xi Jinping. Okay, so Mexico is now pleading with China to stop sending the chemicals over, or let's do a better job of sending the chemicals that we use to make fentanyl over to Mexico so that the cartels don't get their hands on them and we don't get fentanyl-laced pills by the millions going across the U.S. border. Okay, so that makes sense to me why they would go to them. But you would think that the United States, first of all, if we would have had a stronger southern border, we wouldn't have the opioid problem that we have. They wouldn't be funneling in millions and millions of dollars worth of fentanyl across that border because it's wide open, right? If we had that wall, we wouldn't have this opioid crisis. I'm not saying that fentanyl wouldn't get across the border, but not in the amounts that it is now. Just like illegal aliens wouldn't get across the border in the amounts that they are right now. And why is that? Because we have no southern border right now. We have illegal aliens coming across the border, millions a year now. 2 million a year, I think, was the last year. Over 2 million illegal immigrants cross the southern border. That's insane. That is insane. It's not just the southern border, right? I remember hearing about this story from the Daily Wire back in 2020. Canada invited communist China to come to country to participate in military exercises. Well, hold on a minute. Why in the world is Canada doing joint military operations with China? I mean, I get, working alongside other countries, but China? Canada? Hello? Does this not concern anybody in the United States government that you had Chinese military operations going on just north in Canada? I'm sorry, but that bothers me. But this is just another step. This was just another step that China has been taking over the 20 years that they've been implementing this with their, 1,000 Talents program and Belt and Road Initiative and everything else, right? China has been pushing to dominate the world and crush the United States all in one single blow. And they are working their plan to perfection. Now, granted, it wouldn't work that great if they didn't have help from the inside. But the Biden crime family is in charge of the country right now, unfortunately, and they are just giving everything away to China. I mean, and every policy that this administration has tried to enact and every deterrent that they have tried to use has failed because nobody is afraid of Joe Biden. Nobody is afraid of this administration. And that's a problem. Because as the world's dominant military power, we should be feared. It should be. Don't you dare even think about doing this because I will somebody else will be raising your sons and daughters if you try this crap. Right? That's what I would be telling people. You go back and you tell all of your people that we're going to do this, but as a result, there could be a good chance that somebody else raises your sons and daughters because you are going up against the mightiest military force on the planet. And to me, that seems pretty stupid. But in the end, right, like China has made all the right moves on the world stage to position themselves to be the next global superpower. And unfortunately, for a lot of us Americans here who want to keep our country the way it is and make it great again and limit the government and do away with all these establishment, deep state people and all that. Unfortunately, that is a hard battle to be fought right now. And the establishment, deep state, and the global elites are aligned in their ideals and their vision of the world. And that vision is a one world government, much like China's, an authoritarian capitalist government where You can make money, but you got to give it to the government. And you have to make what the government tells you to make. And you have to comply with every single thing the government tells you. And they are going to control every facet of your business, every facet of your life, with social credit scores and digital currency. It's another reason why they're trying to collapse the dollar. All of this is happening right now, and this administration is not doing anything to stop it. So it is very hard pressed for me to believe that we make it to 2025 without a major economic collapse or serious internal conflict in this country. It does not look good. But I want to know what you guys think. Am I crazy? Am I just seeing the darker side of this? Or is there something I'm missing? Right? Like, let me know in the comments down below. What do you think about China's moves on the world stage as of late? And do we have enough time to correct the mistakes that this country has made in combating China's global spread? Or is it too late? So if you've made it all the way to the end of this video, I really do appreciate it. It means a lot that you've made it this far. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you get notified anytime I drop a new video. And make sure to head on over to Rumble and Locals and become members there as well. If you like this content and you want to help support the video, smash that like button, because all these interactions will show the algorithm that this video needs more impressions, and that's how we grow. The more people see the content, the more people subscribe. So help me out, smash that like button. I appreciate everything you guys have been doing, and I will catch you later. Peace.